Welcome back to Limitless, guys. Today we're going to be starting on the new side panels for the 10-hour Jeep build, and they actually went fairly well. We're going to be hammer forming them, and I'll show you guys how I did that, and fairly cheap as well. Hope you guys like it. Stay tuned. Alright guys, it's been a long week. A lot of thinking about how I need to do the entire setup of this Jeep. And I think I have to raise it up 2 inches in the height of the body. Because the motor, the ZX10 motor, is going to be about 24 inches in overall height, and I've only got about 22 inches in the body. And I don't want the oil pan hanging down below. I want a completely flat bottom. So I went ahead and put a lot of thought into what I wanted to do. So I'm going to be actually running the frame rails right at the bottom and welding the panels to it. And that should give me my 2-inch height that I need. So I'm also making new side panels. So I went ahead, took off the one side, I traced it out onto some MDF, cut it out. Well, first then I drew on what I wanted for shape. I want to shrink. While I'm doing this, I might as well do it the way that I want. So I wanted to shrink the tire cutout size and raise it up so that I have, you know, a nice even clearance around the whole thing. For the height that I want, the ride height on my Jeep. So I'll just show you what I've got here. So it is running a significant amount higher up. So this, by shrinking this entire wheel well, I've also gained almost 5 inches out of my length, which means when I mount my seats lower, I'll be able to push them back far enough so that you're not crammed up against the dash, which was another issue that I found out once I started sitting in it and playing around with dimensions. So this is the new shape. Took a while to make exactly the way that I wanted it, and I went ahead and fiberglassed the edge of the one I'm going to be beating over, and then the top one will just sandwich on top of the sheet metal, and hopefully I can hammer form it around this MDF. I only got to make 2, so I wasn't about to make a steel one or anything, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've got the piece now sandwiched between my two pieces of MDF. It's clamped down hopefully well enough, and we're going to try folding over the top edge here first. I'm going to start really gradual, see how this works. Like I said, I don't know if the MDF is going to work or not. Everything online says it works for small parts, but not for big ones, so we'll see how it goes. And it's probably going to give a pretty good echo through this table. With those steel studs, you get a lot of that. I'm going to test this out on the bottom first. This hammer's got some pretty good dings in it. I want to make sure it's not going to be making some marks. That should do. Okay, so I've got everything I can do formed on this unit. You'll see in this corner where you have to shrink. I might have to take this off. So, because it's not steel, I can't actually flatten it down enough. And the MDF gave way in the corner right here and a little bit right there. So I'm getting a piece of steel cut out, which is, you know, covering both of these all the way to the end up, and then just kind of over somewhere along here. And that'll allow me to form those corners exactly the same. But for right now, I'm going to pop it out and just use this key stock to get the corners even better on all the way around all the sides. Well, that wasn't very fun. But for never having done that before, that went pretty good. Alright, as you can see, piece is out, and this is the bad part here. This part came out actually fairly good. Shouldn't have an issue. Once I get that sheet of metal in, then I can even... I haven't decided if I should cut out the chunk of wood to match and then form the next one right on there, or if I should just slide it in afterwards, like I'll probably do with this one. Now I'll just slide in my big cutout piece, slide it in, clamp it this way at the two ends, and hopefully I should be able to mash those out nice and flat. I do have just the slightest bit of twist on this, but it was formed quite flat, so it should sit flat once I make my once I make the framing below. So now I'll end up with 2x1 on the bottom of this, and then I can weld along this flange against the 2x1, and just got to figure out a nice way to cap it off and finish it right here, and then I'll be coming this way to go from side to side. Alright, I'm going to call that good with the hammer for now. I'm just waiting on the new planishing tip for my air hammer. Then hopefully I can clean this up just a little bit better. A little less grinding to do later on and sanding to make it really nice. I mean, I'm not looking for perfection either, so, but this seemed to work significantly better. It's a lot cheaper than getting the whole thing made out of steel, that's for sure. Because prices right now are ridiculous. So if you're doing this, I recommend at least doing that little piece. Yeah, guess that's it for today because I'm waiting on that part. Alright, got the second side panel all cut out. Unfortunately it was slightly shorter widthwise than the other one, so I'm going to have to cut the other one down over the lip so that it's not so deep. But not too big of a deal anyways, it's fixable. So I can go ahead and start banging this edge down. I'm going to leave just this part right here not quite folded over all the way, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier to get out of the mold this time. But I'm going to do the back edge fully this time first, because the front edge is the hard one to actually form, and then hopefully that'll keep it in shape a little bit better. So we'll just throw some earmuffs on and get started. Okay, so I got this one all hammered out. As you can see, because I used the planisher on the inside, it pulled more material in there than on the last one. So I have barely any kind of a strip right here. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna remake it, or if I'm gonna try and weld in a little piece. I mean, it's gonna look like crap if I do, I'm sure. Or I could even trim back the other one, you know, that much, which is a pretty significant amount. Really, the only thing I'm concerned with is this part, because this is over where your arm is gonna be. So who knows, I might even box this side in or something like that. I'm gonna leave that for now. I can get the other half taken off. So I can drill out the spot welds on that side, get that half taken off, and then I can get the frame into place and start getting some braces in it, and then I can get these panels back on it. Alright, so I went ahead and notched out the top where that bend is, because I've got two bends. It's not really possible to curve that around while it's still on the panel. So same thing as the other one, I cut it out. Last one though, I cut all the way across here, and I'm going to try just cutting where the curve is. We'll see how it goes. And then I've got my shrinker stretcher set up here. And I remember that I had to start pretty far back. I do have my lines marked out down there where the curve needs to be, and then I have a template as well. So hopefully I can get this on camera for you. So it's already curving it around quite nicely. And I'm just using my leg to bend it in there a little better. Up top. Alright, as you can see, it's really close. And let's bring it down a little. As you can see, it's really close to fitting exact. For some reason, I don't know if my cut is just not quite square or what, but even on the other one, the outside of the panel was nice and square. But the inside, I had a gap in the middle here. So either way, it'll end up probably about the same here. So you can see I've got a bit of a twist in it. This part of the panel is lifting up. Had the same thing on the other one as well. And I just kind of forced it back into place. So this side, looks like I got to start the bend a little bit higher. Alright, so I've gone and stretched out this top piece that I cut out and got it to fit exactly, cut it off, filed it down, made it sit really nice. So I'm going to start with tacking this inside piece because it's sitting exactly where I want it right now. And then I can slowly work my way around. See if my welder's going to reach. Alright, despite me really not wanting to completely build a Jeep from scratch, I'm pretty much going to be left with just about that. Now I didn't have any of the dimensions and stuff like that, so I mean, really I needed to purchase this anyways. And these side panels, they're not bad. This one has a slight bend on that side. There's little cracks in the welds up here. These side pods got to be redone for sure. But after, if I was to be filling in a hole like this, remaking the sides, fixing all the little, you know, there's some waviness to it. The arches aren't great at all. There's so many spot welds in the back as well, holding all the inner structure in place. By the time I did all of that, I would be into it for way more time than just remaking this. And unlike the original, I'll make this separately. I think it's going to be significantly faster. And I do have to also make the front wheel arches as well, or the front fenders as well, because they're not going to clear my tires. So I do have to go higher. So inside here, like I said, there's all of this that's got to be drilled out on the spot welds. Still got to cut up higher into here. This whole bottom lip, it has a second skin on it, so it's spot welded all the way along. And I was going to redo just the bottom 2 inches or so, but really for this simple flat shape, only has the one arch, which isn't any tighter of a radius than the other piece was. This corner here is probably the only difficult one, but I don't mind doing some notching if I have to in order to shrink around that curve. And it allows me to fix the little things, you know, on this original one that are not quite right. The holes are massive. Nothing's truly flat. So that's the plan now. So everything on this is going to be handmade pretty much except for this top. And I'm going to more than likely buy a new grill because my grill is quite bad. But everything's going to be it's still gonna be fun. I don't mind. You know, it's not an ideal. There we go. It's not the ideal situation, but whatever. Spend a week doing fixing this stuff, or spend a couple days building both new sides. The other side is significantly worse than this side, so it would have taken a lot longer to do. And this will get me nice and square, and it's actually faster now too, because I can just cut at the seam here. There's a couple of spot welds pinched in between these two, and then remove everything from there down and trace it out. I'll do the same MDF ones. If I need to make 2 of them this time, I will. I won't fiberglass it. It really didn't seem to help a whole lot, but I'll look a little bit closer at my other form to see if maybe it did help out a lot. It's hard to say. And yeah, we'll continue on from there.